Yes, they weren't quite the number one, were they? They were number two on grand final night. 19 wins, 5 losses. They were the minor premiers. A very healthy for and against. Michael Carianis, how did you rate the Melbourne Storm for 2024?
Oh, a really dominant season from the midway point. From round 15, they sat first in the competition ladder and never lost their grip at the top of the table. They were outstanding. They just keep producing time and time again. And it's players that we hadn't seen. Like Eli Katoa was outstanding. Sean Bloor was really good for him. Josh King continues to be an underrated part of that fabric and a really, really good player in the middle of the field. I think he was outstanding for the Storm this year.
I've made mention of these players. Sean Bloor, Jack Howarth.
Yes, Jack
Trent
Howarth.
Loero, Josh King, Alec McDonald, to a lesser degree Lazarus Fa'alepo, but the poster child for it all, and this is the Melbourne Storm way for the last 20 years. It's under the coaching of Craig Bellamy. Tyron Wishart.
Yeah.
Like he was being spoken about as a chance for the Kangaroos at the back end of the year.
No doubt, yeah, and floated for Origin too. You know, how good he was and became that Mr. Fix-It. So it's not that then none of those are big names, right? But they contribute massively into what they need to do to allow the Harry Grants, Jahrome Hughes. Cam Munster had a disappointing season, right? I thought, but you know, he was severely injured with that groin injury that happened in the preseason, and he just never really swung into action, probably until the last couple of weeks of the season. Jahrome Hughes had an outstanding year, like elite season. Harry Grant, I thought in the back half of the year was really, really good. He was a guy that after Origin in 2023, I think he struggled a little bit, but he got back to his best this year, and Pappenhausen getting through largely unscathed was massive for him as well.
So those players, the point I was making there, performed better than what they were being paid.
No doubt.
So they represented great value for the Melbourne Storm, which brings you then to it's something they've done for 20 years. We pay a lot of money to our spine players because we think they're the most important part of a team. And all those guys you mentioned, like Munster, 17 games, 12 try assists. Hughes, 23 games, 26 try assists, 26 line break assists.
Outstanding
Like
season.
this is more than one a game of each.
Yeah.
And a deserved Dally M winner. Jahrome Hughes with that. Pappenhausen's such an interesting watch.
Yeah.
His best, we know, is world class. Can he get there again? It's not through lack of effort. It's just his body letting him down.
I think he'll get there again of the fact of, you know, he played 20 games this season, last year, so that was big for him. And now that he's got that 12-month out of the way, and I think the fact that if Munster can get back to his running off-the-cuff best football, that will free everyone else up.
Yeah.
They've got the best spine in the competition, right? No doubt.
And it was the health of the spine, which was their biggest issue towards the back end.
No doubt.
Yep.
No doubt. And that led to their performance in the grand final.
And so that's what we can say, right? Yes, they've got, and we've talked earlier when some of the teams that we've been reviewing, and that is, how many games did this player play? How much did you get out of them? They were playing when they probably shouldn't have.
No, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They got 23 games, but Munster's doing it, and 6 of them he was probably not fit to play.
Oh, at least 6. Yeah, you're probably being generous to him, right? He probably should have had the surgery and missed the whole season, really, Cam Munster. But he played through and got through it, and they did enough to get to the grand final, right? And we've had a debate on this already. I thought it was a disappointing performance in the grand final. Having put 37-48 in consecutive weeks in the grand final, their attack just didn't click. They were gritty, they were tough, they were all those things, but I just don't think they were able to, and some of that comes down to the defence that they faced as well,
and that's,
right? And that's a compliment to the Penrith Panthers, who are a generational side, but they would have left that Sydney Olympic Park disappointed in their performance.
And the one thing I will say about Alec McDonald and Josh King and the lack of the X factor of Nelson Asafa-Solomona in that grand final, I think we underestimated his absence because of the suspension coming out of the game beforehand. And he is when he's on, Nelson, he is a massive point of difference to a Melbourne Storm team who are generally built in the mode of their coach, and that is, hard work, do the little things right. That's how we're going to get it done. But Nelson's this outlier that will, flick a pass out the back whilst engaging 3 defenders that just frees up whether it's Harry Grant or the next pass to Hughes or Munster, and he is their X factor player. I think he's a challenge for Bellamy away from footy.
No doubt.
But he just recognises his value.
Yeah, and just his presence becomes a target with the footy. If he's got the ball, they've got to have eyes on him, particularly close to the line. So it frees up that half a second when that defender needs to watch Nelson, frees up Hughes and Munster and Pappenhausen at the back, or Harry Grant around the ruck.
Scored the first try of the grand final.
So there's all these things that happen there just with Nelson being in and around the field. So, yeah, he was a huge loss, and coupled with the lack of fitness or, the fitness concerns over their big game players produced the performance that happened in the grand final.
Where are we at with Craig Bellamy? Like his record is unprecedented. His consistency across a lifetime of coaching is amazing. He's won every round one. Sorry, he hasn't lost a round one clash in his entire history as an NRL coach.
20+ years, whatever it is. It's remarkable. And, we always hear around Craig, is he going to retire? Is he not going to retire? Will he go again? He'll go again as long as he thinks he can win a comp. And while he's got that spine, he can win a comp.
And then the other thing that they have to do, the Melbourne Storm, which I think they do very well, is keep challenging Craig. Oh, you've got to win one with not all the big three there.
Yeah.
Well, now you've got to win one with none of the big three there. And all of that sort of thing. And he's, in many ways, he's, from a coaching perspective, he's chasing history. Like, where do you rank him in the greatest coaches of all time? He's in the top 3 in the history of this game.
Yep. Can't argue. I can't argue with it, with any of that. And obviously, Jack, Wayne, and Craig, is that how are you thinking?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I wasn't talking order. Sorry.
No. Yeah, I could comfortably go with those three, and you work out where you're standing on the podium.
Yeah.
And everyone will have a different opinion on that.
But they're the top 3, right?
No doubt about it. So they're an outstanding organisation. For them to be on and off the field, they're just extraordinary. They just weren't quite good enough against a generational team.
Yeah.
Like an historic generational team, which we will speak about come Monday about the Penrith Panthers. Little side note, Storm go to Geelong every year for 2 weeks in the pre-season. I believe that the Queensland coach Billy Slater will be there and the New South Wales coach Laurie Daly will be there. So they'll be there at Geelong at that time.
Interesting.
From what I understand, they'll be there. Hey, g'day Billy, g'day Laurie. How are you? What are you doing here?
Will the mind game start early?
Oh, apparently Billy's walking around in the glass house.
I'm not sure Laurie's got that. There's Laurie.
We're still Queenslanders.
That's right. Thank you.
Laurie hasn't shown that side of him as a coach.
Does he need to?
I'd like him to, from a media point of view.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
But Madge was fun.
Yep.
Madge was great.
He did have a bit of fun during that Origin
series.
And Madge,
really good coach. Madge was never fun as an NRL coach, right? Like, to do it from a media perspective, right? Yeah. He was always straight, and he's a really good person, Michael Maguire, right? But the public persona of him as an NRL coach was pretty dry and boring. He was fun. I kept calling him Origin Madge. I said, Matt, I love Origin Madge. Can we have,
really?
Yeah, can we have Origin Madge? And when he got the Brisbane job, I said, mate, stay as Origin Madge. And he's like, don't worry, I will. I don't know if he will, but I hope so.
How much dealings do you have with the Brisbane coach?
The Broncos coach?
The Broncos coach, yeah.
Minimal.
Right.
I'll probably have more because I know Michael than the other Queensland coaches. I'd never had much to do with Kevy. I had the coaches before. Anthony Seibold was only at South for a season before he went up there. Yep. So not very minimal. Michael Maguire probably the most that I've had with a Queensland coach, but a Queensland-based coach. But no, I think he's going to do well there.
Mark, that quote sums up the Storm on how good they are. They just did enough to make the grand final. Other clubs would love to make.
Oh, when I say they, no, that's a misrepresent.
Okay,
they had an outstanding season, right? It was just the season looked like it just went on too long for them because of
all the things that we mentioned,
the damage that they've had. The damage that they've had to them. So, they didn't limp through the grand final. They were there in emphatic fashion, beating Cronulla 37-10, the Roosters 48-18.
48-18, misleading.
It was closer.
Misleading.
Definitely.
All right, grading?
A.
Yeah, A.
Easy.
Yeah. There's only one side that's going to outrate them.
Yeah.
And that'll be the side we talk about on Monday. Just on that, morning, lads. I'm with you, J-Man. That grand final was a brutal contest and will stand as one of the best. MC, go back to chucking D-grade Duzras on primary school pitches.
I'd take D-grade.
That's Port Adelaide. That's the Port Adelaide Dragon. So there we go. Anyone else wants to weigh in on that one? Okay.
So if I had to get you to rank the 4 grand finals.
In what way? What's the criteria you asking me to rank them?
Best grand finals.
Best.
Well, in your opinion, like what was the
best grand final was the Broncos.
Tick? Yep.
Souths.
Yep.
Storm.
I flipped the last 2.
Parramatta.
I just flipped the last
mate,
2.
I watched that game. I called that game. 3 sets in, it was over.
The reason I'm saying that is I know it wasn't the greatest, like it wasn't a close contest, right? That opening 40 minutes by by Penrith, they beat any team that I've ever seen in that opening 40 minutes. Put a New South Wales team in, a Queensland team, whatever the case may be, they win that game. That opening 40 minutes was the best 40 minutes I've ever seen from a side in a grand final. Or best performance I've seen from a big game team.
As I say, we're looking for different things in our grand finals.
In life.
In life, exactly. You know, Michael, doctors say a proper breakfast includes eggs, bacon, and breakfast with Vossy and Brandy. So get your daily fix through our socials and listen live on SEN Radio.